Susanne has more than 20 years experience in emergency nutrition, food aid, food security, livelihoods, both in conflict and in natural disasters. Susanne has worked for many NGOs, UN agencies and donors, both as a consultant and as an evaluator, and has worked with Oxfam on food policy and advocacy. And of course has worked with us at the Humanitarian Policy Group for the last 2 years until last July, where she was leading our livelihoods work. Susanne's expertise, geographical expertise, is particularly around the Horn, East and Central Africa, and particularly Sudan, and particularly Darfur. That's why he's back with us today. Yeah. Absolutely. She's just started a PhD at Bristol University on the history of food aid in Sudan and its impact on governance, and we're all looking forward to reading your study when it's ready, Susanne.
It'll be a while. Yes, sorry, somebody has to tell me how to switch on.
It should be on.
Oh, is it on already? Oh, thank you, Sarah. I should also say that I was actually part of the urbanisation study, developing the overall kind of protocol, but also in particular doing the Port Sudan, or taking part in the Port Sudan case study. And I already think, I mean, even before this presentation, I already thought that the subject of urbanization is a very important one. And I mean, I think it's the emphasis or the study of urban populations and the process of urbanization has been very much neglected amongst the humanitarian community until now. And that's despite, you know, as we have heard a number of times already, the increasing reality of urbanization. So I guess, you know, we all, and I include myself in that, we all sort of started out in the 1980s working with rural populations, farmers, pastoralists, and we've kind of continued to do that ever since then. And now our tools and our knowledge are mostly based on kind of rural and rural populations. So that is just to say that I think, you know, this study is long overdue and very important. Margie's already talked a lot about my favorite part of the study, which is on the urban economy. And again, I just wanted to kind of highlight, I guess, how rare it is to find such a detailed analysis of the wider urban economy in kind of a study on livelihoods more generally. And of course, one of the most striking things being that Nyala has changed from an exporter of agricultural goods to an importer of mainly construction materials, foodstuffs. I mean, Margie's already said that. But even more strikingly, that this is very much based on or linked to the aid community, the international community, and also engagement from businesses in Central Sudan. So, of course, one of the questions that arises immediately is what's going to happen, you know, when the international community leaves, or in fact, can the international community leave at all without actually causing another crisis? Or I know that Margie and Algida and I've already talked a lot about many different issues. So I just want to just kind of, I guess, go into one thing here, which has come up in a number of different ways already, and that is the kind of the visions for the urban IDP population that are kind of implicit in the report. And what I'm talking about is the different kind of visions that are evident from looking at government policies, aid agency policies, and what we know what IDPs themselves want to do. So when you look at what we know about government policies, we've heard that the government encourages people to go home, to return to their areas of origin, or they can get residential plots but give up their IDP status. They can settle in model villages. And at the same time, we also know that the government is hoping to develop Nyala into a modern city with multi-story offices and shopping malls, and for it to become a major trading center. Yet the IDPs are not included in the master plan. So I guess one of the questions is, what does this kind of mean for IDPs? What does it mean for compensation? Algida already said this is an important issue. What does it mean in terms of work opportunities for IDPs? Are they to continue to kind of be mainly kind of casual laborers? Or can they be part of that kind of urban development? Then when you think about what the aid agencies are doing, trying to shift from relief to recovery mode, there's already been a reduction in food aid since 2008, where people are living on quite sort of low rations. The creation of kind of new leadership, new committees, very small scale, as Margie was saying, kind of skills training, microcredit, self-reliance projects. And at the same time, I guess being highly constrained in what they can do because of the expulsions, because of the current insecurity. So again, I mean, just thinking about that, what does it mean for humanitarian assistance and protection? How does it compare to government policy? And to what extent, I guess, is the humanitarian community keeping IDPs in a state of suspense, waiting for, you know, protection, assistance, compensation? And then finally, I mean, what do we know about what the IDPs themselves want? I mean, we heard that younger people probably want to stay for education purposes and live a more urbanized lifestyle. People are unlikely to return directly. And maybe what we haven't heard about so much is the kind of the way that most or many IDPs now are developing kind of livelihoods which are based in a number of centers. So with part of the family maybe returning to the villages, part of the family in Khartoum, part of the family in London maybe. So I mean, there's a kind of the geography of livelihoods is changing. And then of course security remains a major concern. So again, given what we know, I mean, what we know about IDPs themselves want to do, although this is actually, we could be doing more work on that. I mean, are aid policies and practices actually supporting these, particularly the urban-rural links, I guess? Are what IDPs are actually doing, like the daily labor, petty trade, is that what their priorities are? Or is that really just an adaptation to kind of ongoing threats and vulnerabilities? So I guess one of the questions the main question I want to throw out is, given that, you know, you've got these kind of different, I mean, I don't think these three kind of key actors necessarily reflect the same vision. So, I mean, I guess one of the questions is, I mean, is it possible to develop a common vision for the future? And if so, how do we reconcile them? How do we do it? I mean, Margie talked about a vision for the future of Darfur's economy and Nyala's economy in particular. I mean, how do we bring together all these different kind of visions of I was talking particularly about the role of IDPs, but I guess of Nyala more generally.
Thank you, Susanne. A lot of food for